Yay! Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Superhero Roundup Live here on SourceFedNERD. I am Matt Lieberman. Joining me on the couch this week, Sam Basher's here.
Hello.
DJ Wooldridge is here.
Hello.
And a very special guest, Mr. Jason Inman, co-host of DC All Access.
Hey.
I'm so excited to sit on this couch.
Thank you.
We're so happy that you're here. Maud Garrett's going to be back next week. We got a big show, a little business right up top. As always, we do this show live every single Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on SourceFedNERD. So if you're not subscribed yet, go to youtube.com/SourceFedNERD so you can join in on all the fun live chatting with us in the chat. We got it right here. You can also tweet at us throughout the show and throughout the week at the hashtag SHRoundup. And Sam is going to pull your tweets for you.
Me.
Yes, he is doing it. As always, if you haven't yet, subscribe to SourceFedNERD on YouTube and go to iTunes, rate and review the show. It really helps us out. It's how more people find it. Bigger show, bigger following, bigger guests, great people like Jason. And of course, we're going to be chatting about all the things in superhero TV this week. And we're also going to be breaking down our thoughts on the Batman v Superman trailer. But we're covering the big Flash Arrow crossover, setting up Legends of Tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't think it's the fall finale. I think there's one more to go.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be chatting about Supergirl. And real quick, we'll touch in on iZombie and Gotham. But first, we want to talk about that trailer, right, Sam?
Mm-hmm. The trailer for Batman v Superman, the second trailer, premiered this week. We had a little teaser. Teaser's real good. Then we had
Teaser
a trailer.
was cool as hell.
It was really cool. And then we had a full trailer. We got some bug things.
Can we talk about that? Because that plays into the teaser, where a lot of the prevailing theory seems to be that it's a dream. Probably specifically because the action figure of that Batman costume is called the Nightmare Batman with a K.
Check out our SourceFedNERD video on a more in-depth look.
But I wonder, there were, now we see those bug things running around. Also, I think a dream would be dumb, but that's me. Whatever.
They look like parademons, and it's so cool.
The things that might be parademons, there was a rumor going around that Ezra Miller's Flash will show up at the end of Batman v Superman from the future, from a post-apocalyptic future. And if you look at Batman going in, they're in a wrecked area. It looks post-apocalyptic. It could just be the part of Metropolis that got ruined in Batman v
It looks like a desert.
But what if it is an alternate bad future
where Superman has taken over Kingdom Come style?
Injustice.
Or Superman's been taken over by Darkseid, since there's parademons running around, which is Justice League War type stuff.
Sold.
That sounds so freaking cool.
Yeah, I personally think that might be the coolest version of it. Again, I'm not, and you even get it in this trailer, with interaction with Clark and Batman. I'm still not sold on the idea of Superman being totalitarian, because it's so against his nature. It'd be much more in line with Batman, as I've said before, for him to be kind of fascist and go a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Also, Batman's more willing to work with people. So for that gruff loner, Batman's had hundreds of sidekicks, and Superman's always traditionally worked alone. But anyway, that's what I think it might be. Is it might be a look at a bad future.
But overall, what did you guys feel about the trailer? What did you like and what did you not like? Because there's a lot was given to us really quick, Jason.
Jason, you start.
I loved the attitude that Ben Affleck brought to as Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Totally.
I'm totally digging on that Batman voice. It sounds like they're doing the modulation like Arrow, which I think is a good call to make it different from this. Very good call. I think Bruce Wayne, we've seen Bruce Wayne Playboy. To see Bruce Wayne like Gotham's like the New York, and we got some attitude and screw you farm boy, that's great. I did have one negative. Okay. I loved it overall. My negative is I'm not sold on Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
A lot of people are saying
the exact opposite. Here's the thing. Never been a huge, and I might get hate for this, I was never a huge fan of Gene Hackman's campy, over-the-top.
I wasn't either.
That's not how I really like Lex Luthor, but in this world where everybody's so, my penis is bigger. No, my penis is bigger. I'm going to punch you in the face. To have him kind of come in and diffuse that and be the opposite end of the spectrum, I thought this version of Luthor worked for me in this trailer, at least, but in this world, everything's so dark and intense and whatever, to have somebody not give a shit about any of that and just be kind of a mad scientist like he was in the Silver Age, even though he's also the billionaire version of him.
Yeah, even though they're sort of doing like the Alexander Luthor Jr. version, which they've said in Forbes, which is the actual Lex Luthor that was there during the Doomsday storyline.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. overall, I really liked it. It felt kind of like, here's a clip Zack Snyder liked, here's what we have to show for a trailer, here's another one that he really wanted in there, and then they're like, for some reason, people were kind of speculating that Doomsday was already in the movie, so they're like, let's answer that now so people can like calm down about it.
What do you feel are the Zack Snyder clips?
I don't know. It felt like you were trying to set up one trailer with like the Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne meeting for the first time, and then you hopped right into the action, and there wasn't a clear like transition. It just kind of went boom, boom.
In terms
right
of
over.
like Zack Snyder trailers, and I think a lot of people will argue that Zack Snyder's trailers, his movies, you can say whatever you want, but his trailers are relatively unimpeachable. Like the trailers for his movies are always great. To me, I really enjoyed this trailer. I would say it's kind of low watermark for Zack Snyder movie trailers.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
It's a little disjointed.
The one thing I think Zack Snyder's trailers do a really good job on is feel. They like, oh, this feels really cool. And then you get in the movie and it's like, I've always been let down by Zack Snyder movies. I think the good thing about this trailer is it makes me feel like, it feels like the bones of this movie are solid. The structure, because it's basically like old school trailers where like, here's the movie. Like and it feels like it's a sturdy structure to build on. Thankfully, like I feel more confident about this movie after this trailer. To me, honestly, people are like, "Oh, it gave away too much," which honestly,
I disagree with too. That it gave way too much because.
What did you think was going to happen in this movie? Did you thought Superman was going to kill Batman at the end?
It's called Dawn of Justice. They're going to make the Justice League.
Yeah.
The thing that like you were talking about, the Zack Snyder feel.
I don't know.
I don't know. The Zack Snyder feel of this trailer, like you watch this trailer, like we watched it twice before we started, and you're just like, "Oh man, I want to punch with the superheroes."
Well, okay, I just want to say this. It's just like you see that shot of the world's finest standing together for the first time, and they all look great, and they're right there. How can you be cynical about that? And I'm a very cynical dude when it comes to like movies and TV. You guys watch this show. You know how critical I can be. Like literally, my heart leapt. I was like, "This is awesome! They're here."
Well, like you said, we talked about it. It feels like by the way, jokes. We were told no jokes in these movies. Thank God. And jokes, not quips. Thank God, not like say a joke, look at the camera, wink, grin, and then go back to it. Like it's based on the stuff they're saying is based on.
Did
character.
You see that coming?
Yeah. But it felt like a Justice League Unlimited episode. Awesome.
Yes. It felt like a Justice League Unlimited episode. Everything but Lex, and we're gonna disagree on Lex because I like my Lex.
Clancy Brown.
Yeah, Clancy Brown is my Lex. I like my Lex brilliant. I like him brutal. I like him as a businessman, not showing too much, keeping all that bottled inside.
But again, that Lex is another alpha male in a movie choking with
Stacked
alpha
with
male.
alpha
Even when Wonder Woman is even an alpha male.
Yeah,
Sure. I would argue more of an alpha male than either of the other ones.
For me, like again, since that scene, I guess that opening scene, even though I loved the line, there was a very playful line. To like, I guess the Gotham in me doesn't like freaks dressed like clowns. Like that was good. That was good.
That was a great line.
But it was still what I thought the movie was going to be. Just all that, and then Lex Luthor was a breath of fresh air. And then I love his line, like "You're psychotic." That is a 3-syllable word for people. For people that have too small minds. Like that's Lex Luthor. That attitude is Lex Luthor.
Here, explain like just one little thing for me because I saw someone tweet about it and I was like, that made me think. Like, okay, so Gotham is not supposed to really know about Batman. He's kind of an urban legend. That's kind of all it is. And he mentions the Joker, which is somebody that apparently everybody knows about. Based on that line.
No, I don't think Batman's supposed to be unknown. I think
then why wasn't he mentioned?
Batman's been operating for 20 years. I don't know if he's
so then why do they just call him the Bat Vigilante? If he's been operating for 20 years, someone would have called him Batman by now.
Because I don't know if that's a.
Well, like the hardest thing in any of these superhero movies, if you notice, everyone, both sides, Marvel, DC, is how they get the name.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody's gonna just flat out call them Batman. Like I think, and to fit in that urban vigilante, and he's of course not gonna get on camera and go, "I am Batman." You know, he's never gonna do that. So they're like, "Who's this weirdo who dressed like a bat?"
I just don't want it to be like the end of Fantastic Four. It's like, he's kind of a Batman. What did you say?
Wait, what did you...
No, I don't.
I said he's kind of a Batman.
Do that kind of thing. I do feel like Wonder Woman is going to show up in a couple cameos until the third act, and then suddenly show up to save the day. I don't think she's going to get an arc, which I think is kind of a bummer.
No, I think she just gets a cameo.
Yeah,
but also know that Aquaman's in there too at some point in this movie.
She's not a cameo because there have been photos from the movie that show Bruce Wayne dancing with her.
She's going to be at that party dancing with her, and then she's going to vanish for the rest of the movie till the very end.
I think she's what Black Widow was to Iron Man 2.
Which is disappointing. But again, You know what? As long it looks like it's not gonna suck. Thank God. Like that's
Yeah.
And like, can we just take a second and just be super grateful that a Wonder Woman movie is actually in production?
They're
It's shooting
filming
right
it.
now.
Oh, there's photos coming out. They look amazing. Chris
Yeah.
Pine, Gal
That's
Gadot,
amazing.
whatever.
I'm really interested to see with what that movie is because it's part of it's in World War One, and it's Steve Trevor's in it. I think they're kind of doing what they did with Steve Trevor in Justice League, the Justice League cartoon,
The one
where
that hurt a lot to watch.
Yeah, he's Wonder Woman's first love. And honestly, I hope she doesn't end up on Batman or Superman's arm. It always bugs me when they do
okay.
that because it's like, wait, so Batman's allowed his own love interest, Superman's allowed his own love interest,
But
Wonder
she's
Woman
not.
gets saddled with one of them. Like, no, she's her own leading
She's
character.
fine, yeah. I got a tweet from Stegman Thompson on Twitter. The trailer was awesome, and it didn't tell us anything that we already didn't know or guess.
Very true.
So don't
because
freak
we
out.
still don't know what the deal is with that whole desert sequence. We still, by the way, I hope that last battle, that when Wonder Woman blocks that shot, a bunch of buildings get wrecked. I hope that's in the part of Metropolis that's already wrecked. I don't need another
Yeah.
It looks
city
like-
destroying events.
The only problem, it looks like two different like scenes that were put together.
Yes,
so
yes,
like
it's very clearly
like when
multiple
Batman
shots.
blocks and like, wait, Batman, what are you doing? That's not
Yeah.
going to do
Yeah,
anything.
we still don't even know like what is the actual inciting incident. What causes them? Like
Yeah.
what causes? Because if Batman's supposedly retired in this movie, what is the event that makes him put on the cowl again? What was it? The invasion?
I think it's Superman showing up makes him feel the need.
Okay.
Makes him feel like his
I think
penis
the-
is small.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like the bigger question for me is I think the
Dawn
trailers
of
have done a
Justice.
good job showing why Batman's pissed at Superman.
Yes.
Why is Superman pissed at Batman?
Superman's pissed at Batman because Batman takes away the civil liberties of DJ.
Yeah. I did like I really like that opening exchange. That opening party scene. I was really
Really
so
good.
good.
it was smartly written.
Yeah.
You know, which is a lot to ask for in these
Yes,
superhero
it is.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. and guys, even if you don't like the Doomsday character model, that's one shot and it's definitely unfinished.
Yeah.
And
Chill.
And also, it's Doomsday.
Yeah.
Doomsday is the lamest of the Superman villains.
He
in
is.
my
In your
opinion.
opinion.
Well, no,
Well, no,
Prankster.
he's-
Prankster is the lamest.
no, like he's big and he's powerful, but other than that, like when have we ever really gotten into the psychology of Doomsday and made him compelling in any way other than as a threat?
Yeah, I'm actually the person that sold me. I would have been so bummed that it was actually Doomsday, except when we had John Schnepp on the show, and he's like, "Aren't you glad they're just getting Doomsday out of the way?" You know what?
true.
I am.
Yeah.
You know what? I am.
Yeah, because then we're not building a whole Justice League movie around it.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
just deal
yeah.
with it now, and then we can get
And
on
also,
to more interesting
Doomsday's
villains.
whole purpose is to cause like mass chaos and this destruction, and to form this league.
Yeah.
like it has to be an amazing event, and they couldn't do another alien invasion. We just saw it.
Yeah.
So to do like Doomsday changes the thing, forms the league. Boom.
And he's also already a threat we know Superman can't take out on his own.
I just thought of something. So you brought up earlier that there's a toy that was released for Lex Luthor,
His battle armor.
There are some photos out there of a Lex Luthor action figure in battle armor.
Think about this. So you get a movie. You get a movie with Doomsday. Aquaman's gonna be in there. Wonder Woman's gonna be in there, and possibly Lex in his
Battle
in
armor.
his battle armor. I have.
I'm like, again, as long as it looks like the bones are sturdy, as long as they don't pull a Superman neck snap, it will probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll probably be
It'll be
fine.
fine.
Probably be
What if
fine.
he snaps everyone's neck in the
Everyone's
movie?
neck.
I can see that.
Simultaneously, super fast.
No. See, yeah.
All the DC movies are prequels.
I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad that it's Doomsday because then we can end the comparisons. Because it's like Man of Steel had an alien invasion, Avengers
Yep.
had an alien
Yeah.
invasion, Avengers 2 had a robotic antagonist. If they had done Brainiac now,
Yeah.
it would just feel lame.
The other thing is cool is a lot
I
of these
love
superhero
Brainiac.
movies, especially team up stuff, is like the team fights a bunch of faceless henchmen for the
Yes.
main bad guy. At least this time we have them all. I really want, and they've done such a good job with. It's like I act like these movies are out. It appears that they're doing a good job of setting up DC's classic villains. I really want to see the Society in one of these two-part Justice League movies.
Oh, like an Injustice
'Cause
League or
we've-
the Secret Society.
We've never seen in any of these superhero movies
Villains.
a team of villains.
Yeah.
And I really want to see, based on what we've seen of Jared Leto's Joker and Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I want to see him interact.
It's gonna be weird.
Normally,
too much manicness.
Yeah.
I see them as hating. Normally, I see those characters as hating each other. I think these versions of these characters would love each other.
Yeah. No, because hey, the Joker's not psychotic. He's just so brilliant that little minds can't handle what he does.
I think they'd be really into each other.
We have to move on, just in the interest of time. But I'm loving this conversation. Before we move on to Gotham and iZombie, I just want to check in with you, Jason. Tell us a little more about DC All Access. What are you guys doing over there? Are you enjoying yourself?
Dude, it is a dream job.
Yeah.
DC All
Looks like
Access
it.
is the weekly day show every weekday on the DC Comics YouTube channel, which is DC Entertainment TV, I believe, youtube.com/DC Entertainment TV. It's complicated. But we do different stuff. We interview comic book creators. We play video games. We had Maud and Steve Zaragoza, and we played a game. It's really cool because every week I get to walk in the DC Comics. They have free comics in the lobby. You get to take them. If you ever come to DC Comics, come on. There's free comics, guys. Yeah. There's free comics.
Seriously, I'll be
Hey,
there.
Jason, stop twisting our arms. We said yes.
There's a Batman pinball machine in the lobby. It's really cool. It is, for any comic book fan,
We have that.
it's a dream job. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. What are you reading right now? What's your favorite comic you're reading right now?
I just read The Sheriff of Babylon,
I've
number
heard
one.
really good things. I haven't had a chance to pick my copy.
Yeah,
up.
Vertigo just put it out, and it's about the year 2004 in Iraq, and it's about a CIA agent in Iraq, and there's a murder mystery, and it's a strong first issue. I love We Are Robin.
Yeah.
Love We Are Robin. And I just read Daredevil number 1, the new one by Charles Soule, and
With
I've
the
heard good things
sidekick?
about that
with
as
the
well.
sidekick, and I thought it was very cool. I dig Daredevil's new costume.
Oh yeah, it looks. It's the mainly black with like the red.
And
glove
he's a
boots.
prosecuting attorney now, not a defense attorney. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting change.
Cool.
Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna knock out Gotham so quick. So in the mid-season finale of Gotham,
Oh, that's what this was.
that's what it totally
Flew by.
was.
Yeah.
Flew by. They completely end any kind of momentum they had throughout the first half of the season by killing their big bad already.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bruce Wayne gets kidnapped, and he's wearing a long white nightgown because a bunch of monks from the Order of Saint Dumas are going to sacrifice him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Azrael?
that could be cool if
Okay, sure.
it was on any other show.
Is there a flaming sword?
No.
Damn it.
Nothing magic. Nothing cool. They've got Ron Rifkin in a robe ready to stick a knife into David Mizzou's little Bruce Wayne. And after swearing off of being a bad guy, James Gordon just decides to up and shoot the dude in the face. He shoots.
Wait, swears.
Who's the dude?
Yeah.
Can we say spoilers?
The main
Galavan.
bad guy, Galavan.
Oh, okay,
He
thank
shoots
you.
Galavan. Earlier this year, it came out that Morena Baccarin and James Gordon, what's his face?
Ben McKenzie.
Ben McKenzie having a baby in real life. They
Yeah.
said it's not going to affect the show in any way. Spoiler alert, she's pregnant on the show now, too, with his baby. And he decides to go fight anyway, even though they had the car packed and they were ready to drive off into the sunset, Olicity style.
Man, there's so many cool things. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
There's so many cool things you can do with that
whatever.
show. Because
Yeah.
you just said a baby, and it's like, what if that series already started with him having little James Gordon and him having to deal with the fact that his son might be psychotic?
James Gordon Jr., yeah.
James Gordon Jr. is a really great villain.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
Anyway.
nothing
whatever.
like that. And then it ends with Mr. Freeze walking up and just icing some
yeah.
dude.
Really
Is he full on suit?
Yeah, full on suit.
Wow.
No bubble over his head.
Yeah.
I know, and it's
Got
the
goggles.
Yeah.
I'll be
the
really
Secret
interested.
Service guy from House of Cards, right?
Who plays him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that'll be cool in the
Okay.
back half of the season.
Thank you. That was good. You said cool. Sorry, you made a point. Sorry, continue. My
God's
bad.
spirit lives on through
All right, iZombie.
don't say too much because I did not get the chance to
Oh, did
watch
none
it
of you
yet.
watch it?
I didn't either.
If none of you watched it, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I'll just
I heard
say
it's really good.
It's a great episode of the show. It really shows how they're changing the game and how they're going to ratchet up the tension and bring Babineau into everything.
Good.
Nice.
It's like it basically the premise of the episode is Babineau is framed for murder. Babineau is framed for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, and Liv and Ravi have to figure it out for themselves, and Liv eats the brain of this crazy stalkerish ex-girlfriend and starts rooting through Major's things and discovers that he's been sleeping with
That
Rita.
sounds amazing.
It's a
I fucking love the show.
Really, it's just a great show and a great episode of the show. If you're not watching that show, go watch it. There
I'm
are
surprised
far
you're
worse
not.
shows you could be watching.
We say nothing bad about that show. We love that show. You
yeah.
you dummies.
All right.
You're not watching it.
Let's talk Supergirl.
Yes.
Send me your questions, topics, whatever, comments on SH Roundup on Twitter.
Yes,
and I'll read them on the show.
Please do. Now, Sam, you hated General Lane.
Mother, I'm sorry. It was real. He was bad. He
just
was
like a one-note
I
dick.
agree with him.
He was
Yeah.
just.
I agree with
he
him.
made no sense. And I'm really and like this episode was actually pretty good. Again, like with everything else, but him bugged me. It didn't ruin the episode by any means. It was just like whenever he came on, I knew he was going to say something extremely stupid, and it didn't make any sense.
He has my I thought he was fine. I've seen better actors portray General Lane.
Oh, no,
but his
it's not even-
attitude is very General Lane.
No, he was like
he was walking cliche.
Yeah, he
but-
was general in First Class, and he always plays a general.
Yes.
He's in
Yeah.
everything.
He was in 24 as a
Yeah.
Secret
Yeah,
Service
Secret
agent.
Service
agent,
Yeah,
24.
He was
Aaron
one of my
Pierce.
favorite. I really liked
He
him.
was great on that
Yeah,
show.
yeah, 24.
Yeah.
But he had I overall really liked this episode. I think this show does something interesting that Jessica Jones always did, that all the characters have arcs that aren't Supergirl dependent. Like if you can you think of a single plot line where Cisco did something that was not Flash related?
He went on a date with
Mac
Kendra
went on
Saunders.
Supergirl.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, and then he gave vibed.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, or
I had to
Caitlyn,
dig
even
into
better,
that.
Caitlyn. Does Caitlyn have anything to do on Flash?
Not since her fiance died,
Even
except
with her
try to
fiancé,
Well, no, it's always. But it's the same thing holds true on this show. The only plot lines that people get that have nothing to do with the main character are them macking on somebody.
No,
True.
because
Except for Iris.
Kat's dealing with her mom.
That's true.
James is dealing with Lucy Lane, who's dealing with her dad.
Right.
Wait, you
know
said
what I mean?
Lucy Lane? That's macking on somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Win doing?
But not with her
Nothing.
dad. Win. I'm waiting for his dad to show up.
Yeah, his dad's gonna change the show.
But I think that's interesting. Like the fact that we're seeing these characters have lives outside of the central premise.
Yeah.
Is cool for me. Also, I think it's become clear that the MVPs of the show are Melissa Benoist and Callista Flockhart.
Callista
Flockhart's
Flockhart
killing
has
it.
been crushing.
But they have, and this is another thing that's kind of bugs me, and it doesn't bug me like I'm like mad about it, but it's just like they give her so much story, and they're building out her character so much. She's an amazing actress, you know, she's great, but like I did that.
Our monitor just went out.
Oh, that's fine. We're still
That's
getting
okay.
a feed.
Yeah,
But no, they give her so much time and effort, and there's so many other characters that are like maybe not like I wouldn't say like deserving. Maybe that's the wrong word, but it's just like you have a lot of characters. Work on them too. Don't
Yes.
play favorites.
But I would say she is the Joe of the show. But you were talking about General Lane. He had my least favorite line and moment of the thing. Like, oh, the robot went into safe mode. You're now responsible for that robot killing a bunch of people.
yeah.
Whoa, that's in safe mode? That escalated super quick.
Hold on,
What
wait.
just happened?
What is safe mode?
Yeah,
what
because
does
I
it
thought
do?
that safe mode would be when it's safe.
What
Yeah.
if you put it in like a preschool? Like there's a villain in like a preschool, and
Well,
like
I mean, the crazy
it
thing, too,
blows
is,
up
like-
and like kills everybody.
I love Red Tornado. I love
I
an
love
awesome
Red Tornado,
character.
yeah.
Loved him from Young Justice. But like, where in the Army development plan where they were like, how do we take out terrorists? Tornadoes.
Yeah. but I do
Wait,
think that
what's
was a
the
cool
most powerful thing you
thing
can
to
think
think
of?
of.
A tornado.
I thought
Yeah.
the actual tornado he created that she had
Yeah.
to stop was cool. His tornado line
Body?
thing was like,
The reasoning
yeah.
behind it, like the flippy hands, I was like, all right, we're buying it. Just run with
I'll
it.
say this though. I find this is the only show where like the hero actually saves people as often as she fights things.
Yes.
Yes.
And her saving people, her stopping natural disasters, runaway trains, that's the stuff that to me is the most exciting other than the emotional elements of this show.
Yes.
I would
Far
agree
better
with
than the
that.
fight scenes.
I do think Red Tornado was kind of it does the same
Yes.
thing Arrow and Flash does. When they have a one-off villain, there's nothing. Fortunately, he's an android, which means he probably will come back.
Yeah, he'll
Rule
come
of-
back.
Rule of androids.
Oh wait,
he'll
okay.
come back.
Really quick, just note when they were fighting her, and Tio Morrow died. I think he died at
he
the end,
got
and like
shot.
they all of a sudden the sister was like like, oh no, the robots become sentient. And I was like,
and then-
hold on, what test do you have to check for that? And like, wait, and why did that happen?
That was another rough moment. Like, oh no, the robots become sentient. It's okay. I'm gonna murder the fuck out of it.
So it can feel now.
So it can feel now. So I'm gonna kill it. Like, what just happened?
There's something I want to ask all you guys. This episode on Monday, there was a problem that I may have discovered inherent in the series of Supergirl.
Yeah.
And is that, do you guys have a problem with her working for the DEO? Because I didn't like the scene where General Lane showed up and was like, I need your asset to fight this robot, and you got to do what I say, you know, and I didn't like that Supergirl is underneath the control of the DEO, sort of. Like, I don't know.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of like the free agent thing, but as soon as that came in, it was like, wait, why would she...
Yeah,
wait.
why would she do this?
Why would she ever do this except for her sister?
Yeah.
I guess I see it as she's working with the DEO,
Okay.
not for the DEO.
Yeah.
And once Hank Henshaw, whatever he's up to, whoever he is, once he gets unmasked and we realize like what that agenda is, she's not going to want to work for them anymore.
Yeah,
work
I don't
with
think
them
the
anymore.
DEO is going to last past the first season.
No.
I hope they do, because I think it adds a great excuse to have action sequences that aren't superpower budget dependent, like having her sister getting to fist fights, having car chases and stuff like that. I think it's something that I think Flash could use more of, is a variety of types of action.
Yeah.
And I think the DO offers a cool excuse for that. So I'm also
Okay.
the show is very much Superman but with a girl. And the elements like that differentiate it a little bit more, so I'm more open to it. But one thing I'd like to talk about, because I have been getting tweets about Red Tornado looking awful since the picture was first revealed, and now we finally saw the episode. And whether you liked it or disliked it, we can probably all agree that it looks in line with every other show we watch. It's fine. It's not great, but it wasn't going to be. It's TV.
I thought he looked fine, except for when they did this one close-up, you could see where his makeup stopped and the plastic started.
Yeah, honestly,
But other than that,
I
he
thought
looked fine.
the eyes and the robot noises,
Yeah.
like,
And
this is what I'd
also,
expect from this show.
am I crazy, or did they digitally make him look redder?
Maybe.
Probably.
I mean, it's
in a
color
few
correction. That
shots,
wouldn't be super
yeah.
difficult.
I mean, they added the eyes in post. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, a little... he didn't need to have a real face. It didn't
that
add.
took me out
It didn't
all the
add.
time.
I thought he was going to talk. I thought he was going to talk
You
to
know,
somebody.
The guy that played T.O. Morrow is the guy who played Red Tornado.
Yeah, and that
which
was-
I think was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, the guy
fucked up that you
played-
made your robot look exactly like
No,
you.
it's
You
like-
had-
iconic.
Let's
Yeah,
read
the guy,
some- let's
the guy
read
that
some,
plays T.O. Morrow and
some
plays Red
comments
Tornado was
here.
also on Peaky Blinders
Oh,
in the
was
first
he?
season.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Peaky
he was
Blinders?
he was the communist.
Oh, sick nasty.
Yeah.
So let's see. Go back down.
Down.
Let's see. Dylan Tucker says, I think DEO is the worst part of the TV show. Ad Villain says it was mediocre.
Well, if
Chris
you guys were to
thinks
rate
Red
this
Tornado
episode
thinks-
like with like a number, what
yeah,
would you guys give
1 to 10, and you guys in the chat let us know what you thought. 1 to 10. I thought that honestly, I would say it was a 7. The two best parts for me were Callista Flockhart's storyline. Like she had a great job, and then just that moment of her like heat vision
where she
screaming.
raged out.
Yeah,
Raged and, like,
very
crazy. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I actually felt for this character for the first time. I felt like that was the thing that really got me about this episode, was I really felt for and identified with Kara for the first time
Yeah.
when she was like, I can't have a normal
And
life.
then when she's boxing with the
Yeah.
car,
By the way,
that was a cool scene.
Where did they get that location? Like they look like they were like in a mechanic shop.
Listen, on these shows, there are just thousands of abandoned
Yeah,
warehouses.
empty warehouses everywhere.
Any of our other shows
All right,
we
so
watch.
lots of folks are chiming
It's
in.
all over the
7,
place.
2,
Yeah.
3,
This show's
5, 8.
This show's a very divisive show, and I've talked before why I think that is. But
I would have gave it a 6.
Yeah,
I would
give
give
it-
but I feel like just to put it in perspective, I would have gave the pilot like an 8.5.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a lot.
so-
That's very
I'm
different
glad
here.
when the pilot first came out, I was the only. When it came out officially, Matt was kind of switching over, but I was the only. I'm glad.
No,
other
the
people-
pilot I thought knocked it out of the park. I thought this episode was a just because of the military stuff was a little bit of a step back.
For me, I think the highlight of the show for me was the Livewire episode. And I
Yeah,
think this
that
was a
was
little
fun.
bit beneath that. I think this
Yes.
is maybe, if you take in the pilot, you take it the Livewire episode, probably the 3rd or 4th best episode
Yeah.
of the show. It's still working some stuff out, but I still feel really good about where it's going.
Yeah, for me, it's like upgraded from a like, you don't need to watch this show, like don't worry about it, to you might want to check this show out. You
Yeah.
might want to watch this show.
Keep it going with her being more mad. I like Mad Supergirl.
That,
I like that.
I've heard a lot about that. That kind of bothers me, like this idea that all our superheroes need to have this dark edge for some reason.
No, it's not an edge.
Not
It's not
dark,
an edge.
yeah.
I like the. It's not. And take the darkness out of it. It's that she grew up on a planet. It was taken away from her, and now she's thrown onto a planet where if she touches something, she could destroy it very easily.
The stapler bit from like 2 weeks ago, where she's just talking and randomly pulls the stapler apart unintentionally.
And also, she and then she comes to a planet where she's second note.
Yeah.
Her little cousin is more important than she is, and she's like, well, then what the hell do I do?
So what I'm
And the
hearing you
societal
say,
rules are different, where he can get away with things that she can't because she's a woman.
yeah, and so when you're talking about
Which
the
doesn't make sense when you
being
come from
mad,
another
it's
planet.
like you're talking more personality. You got more of Kara's personality. What would you rate the episode?
With the I kind of want to just remove the red tornado part because that involved the army and that was kind of like meh.
Yeah.
But with Cat Grant, that whole scene talking about what it means to be a woman in the workplace, so good, so
and
freaking
when
good.
Jimmy Olsen brought up that line, like, "Oh yeah, like people like the angry black man."
Either like, that was
just
good.
just for those little like. That's what I want, Supergirl. Those are the scenes
That's
that I
what I
want from Supergirl, and that it could elevate itself above the other superhero shows if it keeps doing that.
And like let out that anger when you're fighting because like that solar flare
that's
was
the thing.
great.
It might be the only one of these 3 DC TV shows that has a real point of view.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I think that it's overall thematic. Like, I feel like Flash muddles its themes a little bit. Whereas at least episode to episode, I think Supergirl at least knows what its theme is.
True.
Flash has a theme.
Also, next
It's
week,
fast.
guys, we're right. You gotta run faster, guys. We're
Run,
getting
Barry,
Gem from Saturn next week.
Jem, who has once been a member of the Injustice League.
Yeah, as the anti-Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, he was the anti-Martian Manhunter. Yep.
You're real excited, DJ. I can tell.
Because it's so weird. We live in a time where Gem can be fucking adapted.
I know.
on TV.
Again, like we talked about this a little before we started, but like just the fact that we saw Red Tornado and a 2-parter about Hawkman in the same week.
Same week.
What do you guys think Hank Kenshaw's deal is? Do we have?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
I'm hoping he's a robot. Like
Yeah.
Cyborg
Do
you want him to be Cyborg Superman?
Well, because think about what that would mean for the show. We're following a show with an alien super person who's working with a cyborg. Like, it's everything S.H.I.E.L.D. refused to do in its first season.
Would you make him good?
Hey, you had a cyborg the first season. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but not on the team. I wanted Coulson to be a robot.
I like the villain of Cyborg Superman, so I hope that's where they go because I think he's a great villain.
Yeah, and I think whatever they're doing with Hank Kenshaw, I have a feeling if we get the show long enough, we'll get the Cyborg Superman from the New 52.
He's
Oh,
pretty
where
cool.
he's her
but-
dad.
Yeah.
not spoilers.
That's
That's not
spoilers.
spoilers.
But I think that'd be-
Not
I-
spoilers.
I
Damn.
think that'd be
Guys, for the
so
interest
cool.
of time,
Anyway.
we gotta move on.
Yeah.
We gotta move on. Let's talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I feel like Flash suffered from this too, where they're trying to set up a ton of stuff, and it's kind of a bloated episode where you're going to get some cool moments and you're going to get some not great moments. It was uneven for me. I still enjoyed like 65% of it, a whole bunch. Yeah. Well, how did you feel, Jason?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from the beginning has been, I think you described it perfectly, where I'm just like, there's a whole bunch of this that's like, okay. To me, and I understand why they can't do it, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to me just suffers because, like, so many times I'm like, why can't we see Captain America in the season finale, at least? Come on!
Something. Like,
Yeah.
do we have to wait a season to let you people know it's Quake?
Yeah.
Crying out loud?
Yeah. And I actually, to be honest with you, like, I love that she's Daisy Johnson, but to me, not naming her Daisy until like the middle, towards the end of the second season, I believe.
Yeah, like 4 episodes left.
To me, tells me that in the first season they had no idea
I
she was
agree.
Quake. They were just like, "Hey, let's make her Quake."
Yeah.
And that kind of bothered me because if she was Quake from the beginning, I would have been so much more excited about that show.
Okay, I think that it's been very strong this season. I would say this is probably the weakest episode this season.
I would say
Agreed.
we've talked about how good the season's been. I think they took all their stupid from past seasons that they were going to have in this season and put it into this episode.
Well, you had to revisit though. You had to
It felt
revisit
like an
the
episode
first
from
season.
season 1. It felt like an episode like
that's rough.
one
That's
right off
that's
the
a
bat.
tough
Right off the bat, we blow up one of the most promising relationships on the show and one of the most promising characters to like. Oh, great, we murdered a woman to motivate a man. Oh man, I've never seen that in any superhero property before. Oh great, and it's just an excuse for Coulson to make the dumbest. I'm going to sit down with you and make you tell me what we already know about Ward in scenes that are completely superfluous, and to get lines like, "It's not that Ward cares too little, it's that he cares too much."
Maybe he does.
What does
care
that
too
mean?
much.
Maybe he does care too much.
I just want somebody in a scene like that, because those lines of like that, like when Ward's on the phone, Coulson, you and I aren't that different. But give me an example.
Yeah.
Like, I want somebody to call and give me a fucking example, you murdering psychopath, of how we're not different.
Ward is something
Throw the phone.
that I do love about that show. I think
Ward is the best part.
That's something that show has done so well.
The best part of the episode, even though I hated that they killed Rosalind because I thought it was stupid, and it shows that this show doesn't really know what to do when it
That
kills
was a
character.
mistake. Yeah.
But Ward's moment of like, oh, you're gonna come kill me now? Oh no, I have people to do that now. And then hangs up, and then that Coulson escaping was cool.
And okay, that's
Coulson escaping.
That's the first
really
real action scene for Coulson.
Yeah,
the
in a
whole
long-
show. I can't think of
the
another
whole-
one.
I mean,
think
like
you're
he
right.
did.
I
He
think
did
you're
come
right.
and try to stop the teleporter dude last season. How he got his
True.
hand all hacked off.
With the
Listen,
quantum.
Clark Gregg only films 3 days a week, guys. Okay, not much time to do action sequences. Okay?
Is that true?
I heard that somewhere. That somebody told me that where that like he worked out a deal where he was like, I'm 55. I'm only going to work like 3 days a week. Good for Clark
Is he
Gregg.
55?
He's up there.
He's a good-looking guy for 55.
No.
Seriously.
Hey, that's the job to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just thought there was a lot of cliched, poor decision. It was just stupid and generic and not what the show's been doing. And as it starts to save itself with that, like moments like, cool, we're going to bring our Inhumans team. This is going to be great. This is going to be exciting. We've been amping this up. Secret Warriors all season. It's the two guys you saw before. One of them melts things and one is a lightning pouty boy. And then we go in and there's stuff blowing up and like Clark does a dive bomb into the tunnel. This is great. He gets to the other side, hits his head immediately, is knocked out. The episode doesn't want to be good. It's like it doesn't want to be good.
Okay, that's your opinion.
color of it.
Yeah.
Sam, back me up here.
I liked this episode. There are weak parts. Don't like that Rosalind was killed,
Yep.
but I'll roll with it. All right, I'll keep going. I really wanted Clark Gregg's character to be happy for just 1 second.
Yep.
But I liked when he interviewed his own team because he had to revisit the first season, which is a tough pill to swallow.
but
Getting
also,
through
God's
that.
backstory is the dumb. I
What?
threw my brother down a well and it made me evil. It's the worst backstory.
Hey, I like-
I
Yeah.
thought
Bill Pullman.
the
Yeah.
development in this episode was great. I liked the brother. I liked they tracked down the brother. I liked the interrogation scenes. I do think the whole episode needed a dialogue polish. Like there were just moments that should work but didn't. Like the moment where the Secret Warriors are assembled and he like says, I don't even remember what Max says, and then Daisy gives him a fist bump, and then Agent May is like, "Good job, director." To me, it's like that should have gone the other way around. It's like you have a shot at him, you have her say, "Good job, director," and then May looks on approvingly. It's like a little more subtlety, a little more smoothness. It just felt uneven.
It's a setup episode.
Yeah,
I
just like
accepted
the
that right
Flash
from the start because we have
one
the
more.
finale. Yeah, I like the episode. I like the fight scenes. I like the setup of having. At least you got three Inhumans. You got Daisy in there too. They're all going to go in there. Let's see him melt some guns. He did that in the first episode of the season. Go in there, melt all the guns. Oh shit!
Well,
they
not
have
just
nothing
that,
to
but
do.
like now he can make stuff out of it. Let's have him take guns and turn them into a shield to protect his compatriots.
That's not going to happen.
That's out of the budget.
Hey, no. Look at the helicarrier. The helicarrier is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have enough to make a wall.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God. And also Coulson on the other planet. You got Fitz on the other planet. You
Why
got
isn't he wearing like a
Ward.
suit of armor that he can use to throw at people? Like that to me
Great.
makes more sense.
Because that is way too
That sounds-
creative and
that-
fun for this show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we're never going to get Max shotgun axe. It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Okay.
I rate the episode.
Out of 10, what do you guys think?
6.9.
6.9?
That's fair.
Jason?
Maybe a 5.
Maybe 5.
I'm saying maybe a 5. I thought this was the weakest one of the season.
Yeah.
I guess I'll give it a begrudging 6. It's a bummer because the show's been on such a creative hot streak.
Yeah.
To have this episode feel as lost as it did is troubling because beginning of season 2 was very impressive too. And then
Yes.
things fell off very quickly. So I'm just hoping we're not getting into that issue again. That's all. Let's see if any folks want to say what they think out of 10. 8 out of 10.
8.10.
Ward is fantastic, and I like when major characters are killed. Michael Lee says 7. Don Quixote, 8.5.
Casey wonders, like, where's Multi Redhead? Hey, yeah, why isn't she on Inhumans? The girl that can clone herself. That would have been cool.
No, they mentioned
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
in the
most-
episode where they brought her back. She was like, she needed a favor, which I was like, that's a weird throwaway thing to do. But
Yeah,
okay.
most people like the episode more than we did. Lots of 8.5s, lots of 7s. Casey
bending
Wonder
Joe.
99 wants to know, when are we bringing Graviton in
Never,
again?
I
Good
guess.
question.
Yeah.
I'm going to say they retconned that first season. So
yeah.
let's
What,
forget about
that'd be
that.
a cool thing to do if Graviton was part of the Inhumans team or the powered team, to have a villain thrown in
Interesting.
there to make it, I don't
A
know.
little interesting?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. We got a big goddamn crossover episode to talk about.
Boom.
Flash and Arrow. We're going to take it one piece at a time. The Flash episode. Now, DJ...
really quick. Tweet me your questions. That's our question of the day. What are your thoughts on the crossover? Tweet them all to me. We'll start with
Hashtag SH Roundup.
SH Roundup.
Do we have anything on that right off the top?
right off the top. Now we got some. The people are starting to flood in right now, but overall, people are pretty happy about it. Thus far.
It was. I mean, all told, it was pretty cool. Like together, it was cool. The
I
Flash
thought it was much
episode-
better than the crossover last year.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fight between them was pretty dope. That
That
last
is really
year.
cool.
Yeah.
The Flash episode was weaker than the Arrow episode.
Agreed.
I thought.
Totally.
Yeah.
What I would say though,
Mostly
let's go
from
to
the
Star.
6 plot line. The
yeah,
Velocity 6
there-
plot line
that was
really
just
rough.
well. That's the thing is like it's kind of like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode where you have a lot of masters in this episode. We have to set up this crossover. We have to set up Legends of Tomorrow. We have to set up this plot point that's going to pay off later in the season with Velocity 6 because we can't fit it into the fall finale, and we don't want to wait until spring to do it. It's like we're fitting in all this stuff, and an episode like this is damn hard to write, and it's not the fun part. The fun part is part 2.
Yeah.
And the Arrow writers had a lot of fun writing it, and it's why it's such a great episode.
Yeah.
This episode, while not the greatest Flash episode ever, and certainly not the best like superhero episode of TV ever, got a lot right. Hawkman was cool. Vandal Savage was cool. Like I like that Patty saw Harrison Wells, and I even like that she shot him because that's kicking that into high gear
But
again.
I also like. We made the joke at the beginning of the season about people breaking in, and I thought that meant we're
they
gonna
now
resolve
make that joke instead of fixing it. They just make the joke
Yeah.
every 3 episodes.
I really, seriously, take over their security. I've been saying it just to give him, because I'm worried the longer he stays on Arrow, the more likely he's going to get killed.
Yeah.
I for every dumb thing, and there were a lot of dumb things, like, oh man, we need to go to Team Arrow. Why? Seriously, because of crossover.
Because we can
Crossover's
team up with them
happening.
somehow.
I was like, it was a fair point. It wasn't organic until he said, magic, and
But
I'm like,
we didn't know
I
at that
get
point
it.
Vandal Savage was magic. They had no evidence that
clue.
he was magic.
Wait, why did
Barry
they
just
say they
has
were
a-
magic?
Barry just has a feeling
Has
that
a
he's
feeling that
magic.
it's magic.
Oh,
so-
it just
Yeah.
feel mystical.
He threw some knives at me, and that looked cool.
Yeah,
Must be
those
magic.
knives sure were old.
Where
Sure,
the
old
hell
knives.
has that magnetic arrow been, and how in the world does it work for only guns in the room?
It was funny.
How did it not pull out their fillings? Like, how did that?
I thought that it
It's
was really
set
cool.
to gun
And
setting.
It kind of sucked that the best part of this Flash episode were the Arrow parts.
Yeah.
Like that scene with Damien Dark. He
but
Neil
that-
Dunn
that
was
was-
having so much fun.
That was the goofiest Damien Dark
Yeah,
has been all
that,
season.
that
He was like,
chemical
"Woo-wee."
bomb line was so stupid. It's like, it sucks to be them. They have this chemical bomb. It is something to steal it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
very, very awkward.
Yeah, mustache twirling like Batman 66 villain.
Oh man, I don't know. I had fun with Neil McDonough in that scene.
Yeah.
What was the highlight for you?
Oh man, to be honest with you, the highlight for me was actually in the Flash episode. I loved the fight between Hawkman and Green Arrow because
That
one
was cool.
classic rivalry, but that shot where he like threw his mace down and knocked the bike
Like,
right
that-
out
yeah,
from
that
under
was
him.
really cool.
That was a sweet looking stunt, and actually, like to me, it topped anything from the fight in Vandal Savage because because the fight in Vandal Savage, the first time they did it, they got their asses whooped. Then they reset time, they go again, and what's the game changer? Oh, Diggle doing that sweet turn with that black van.
But sticking with the Flash, like I really like that fight. I was surprised at how sold I was on Hawkman because it seemed like he was like an add-on to Legend of Tomorrow. Oh, by the way, Hawkman.
Yeah.
And
Oh, he was.
then
He
shows
definitely
up.
was an
It's
add-on.
Like,
Yeah.
he was really compelling. I've never really. I liked Hawkman's character's personality, but not
Yeah.
really his
Yeah.
abilities. But in this was like, I'm glad he's there. I like
I can
this
get
dynamic.
behind it, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a strong, and this is not a criticism, I got a strong Channing Tatum and Jupiter Ascending vibe from him.
Okay.
Like,
I haven't
from
seen
like
that, so I'll
look
take your word
and
for
feel, it's just like,
Don't bother.
listen, I come from somewhere, you're mystical, this is what's happening, I'm going to protect you, also I can fly. Although in that case, it was hover roller skates.
Yeah.
But it's a dumb movie.
My
You
only
should
hope with
totally
the
watch
future
it.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl stuff, because I actually, like I said, I really dug him. I thought Falk, I don't know how to say his last name, did a really great job.
He was great.
I hope we never see ancient Egypt again.
You know, yeah.
Because
It
of
was
all
tough
the
for
white
that show.
people.
Like, I get it. Like, this is a TV show. Their budget's not great. Like, they did the best they can. It looked fine. It was a redress non power about. It's okay.
Yeah.
But like, I
Oh
don't.
shit! Yeah, it was. I didn't really think about it. Yeah.
But I never want to see Egypt again.
These shows do a really good job of when they introduce a new character. It's like, I'd watch a show of that guy. I'd watch a show of the Hawks. I'd watch a show of Adam. I'd watch a show of
that's what they've done.
Firestorm.
That's what they've done really well. I think both shows have done an excellent job in this crossover, even of setting up Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like every time they introduce a new character, when they were talking about that, I was going to be like, man, this is going to be an overstuffed season for both of them. But I dig the new Firestorm. I like
the new
White Canary.
Firestorm's awesome.
I like Hawkman, Hawkgirl. I never thought I'd say that in my entire life.
I have one little gripe with that is that it kind of feels like Legends of Tomorrow kind of commandeered Arrow and Flash to like get them set up, and like I'm waiting for like especially Flash. You're like, get the goddamn Zoom, get to Earth 2, just get to and finish that story.
I'm waiting for Flash to do something with Jay Garrick that's interesting.
Oh, and that's what I wanted to bring up
for him. And he's been so boring.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like the Velocity 6 thing would have felt less boring if something bad happened to Jay when he took it. It worked, and then and then he was like, but I'll never take it again. Unlike, a guy who loved being a hero, loved being fast, and all of a sudden there's now a drug that can make him fast. Yeah. Wouldn't it be something to have him wrestle with that of like, I could just shoot this into my arm and be fast and be a hero again if I just... but no, he's too perfect. Yeah. He's just a perfect guy.
And they didn't talk about where he's been?
Where is he?
Okay, you're in another universe?
Living down at the YMCA.
Yeah. No. I'll tell you exactly where he is. In season 1, we went 6 episodes until Barry moved in with Joe West. In those first 6 episodes, we never saw Barry's apartment. Yeah. Where the hell was Barry Allen living?
He lived in his land.
That's where Jay's staying.
Jay and Henry are hanging out in the woods, camping, wondering why they're not on. Hey, Henry, why did you leave? Oh,
How many dads or father figures were in that scene? Because like Joe showed up, then Jay showed up, and Harrison's on the table, and you're like, so many dads.
For me,
Blaz 992 says Jay didn't take the V6.
No, he did take the
V6.
Yeah,
right?
No, yeah, he did. No, that was another thing that really bothered me. Like, he's been shot. We need to get Joe. Then Joe comes in. Joe, we really need Jay. You don't have Jay's. Does Joe have Jay's phone number?
Contractually,
like, why did you need?
Well, she's like, I don't want to text Jay because I don't want to come off needy, and I don't want to get that weird.
It's the same thing as like there are so many scenes where like Iris shows up to talk to Joe at the police station, and she's like, "Hey, I just want to tell you this." And every time they do one of those scenes, I'm like, "You could have just called."
Yeah.
You could have had this over the phone, but I get it's a TV show.
Yeah, cell signal in Central City is real bad.
Wait, couldn't they have just called the Flash to come? Because his whole power is to be fast.
Yeah, he did run from like Central City to Keystone City and back in like a second.
Yeah, he did it in a second, which is by the way
robbed a museum.
Yeah, which is by the way faster than he's ever been shown in a show ever again. 2 seconds and back.
Yeah, he was able to run to another city. We don't know the geography.
Yeah,
and he's only ever been able to break Mach 2. They specifically point out at the beginning of this episode that he's only ever been able to break Mach 2.
Hey, Keystone City though is a fun like nod because that's Jay City and like in the comics, but also in the New 52, Keystone and Central City are like they're called the Gem Cities, they're sister cities. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. So like,
but if you want to go on geography,
it wasn't impossible.
Star City is also always supposed to be like sort of Seattle.
Yeah,
and Central City is supposed to be like Kansas City.
Yeah,
but obviously like because Central City is on the ocean, so like obviously that's out the wall.
Is that just in general, or
it's
is
sort
that,
of just rough
in the show?
No, in the comics.
In the comics.
Yeah.
But I had a point. Somebody else talk because I forgot what it was.
Do you guys want to go to Arrow? To the fun part of the two-part?
Oh man, I guess if there's nothing else.
Last thing, Malcolm showing up the 2 times and them reacting to that.
shadows.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like because there was definitely shots we were talking about it. There was a shot where it was like we looked at it, there was nobody there. They looked back, then there was 30 dudes in the corner of the room. And you're like, and everyone's like, where'd you come from?
Also, I also liked how quickly they just let Kendra in on the secret. Like and that line delivery.
And
thanks for saving me, Barry.
Also, we should point out that really
and then they just
meant
let
nothing.
him in the Arrow Cave and let everybody know.
Yeah.
That meant nothing at all. If I said like if Superman showed up and someone was like, "Thanks, Clark," I would be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool, Clark. All right." Well, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, wait, Clark Kent."
Wait a minute.
Barry,
there's only one man in Central City named Barry. Yeah. There's that.
The most famous crime solver. What? I don't know.
Also, Malcolm just shows up and he's just sort of like, "Hey, I have intelligence that he's going to go get that staff of Horus."
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, where did you get that from? And it just turns into a fetch quest
It's all
episode.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
Villain Twitter.
Yeah.
Villain Twitter. Special villain Twitter.
Listen,
I want that to be a
if
thing.
you thought that Black Twitter was amazing, Villain Twitter is crazy.
Yeah.
I want man.
Okay, let's talk about the Arrow half, which gets to slow down. It's more creative. It's more character driven, and mother flipping ripping time travel.
I
was so
really
cool.
like the parts where the characters. This one had a cooler, like the tracking shot where everybody's talking to each
Yep.
other. But even the hanging out moment, I thought it was a little indulgent. But it
Yeah.
was cool. It's cool to see these different characters pair off and the different teams. And I feel like it makes both teams pop more within comparison to the other team, especially Barry. I think Barry comes out looking really good in these crossovers because he has more of a personality
in the Arrow episodes,
with Oliver, because he's able to be more of a smart ass as opposed to
And
being
it's
the
like
dull
a-
center of his own show.
Right, and it's sort of like the power dynamic is different because all of Barry's friends, all the people that he works with, all work for him. He's high status, and they're always lower than he is. Versus Barry is Oliver's been doing this longer than Barry, so he looks up to Oliver, even though they're different. And I love playing with that level of power. They feel like equals, and Barry and Cisco are never equals. Cisco
No.
worships Barry.
Yeah.
And Barry never really reciprocates that much, even though they're supposed to be best friends on the show.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit weak. But I want to know, Jason, what did you think of Vandal Savage in general, and like the two-parter?
You know, I will say that I thought he was better in the Arrow episode than the Flash episode, because when he showed up in the Flash episode, he just seemed like this crazy man. He's like, oh, the knives, and,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, this is a little far. But in the Arrow episode, we really got to see like his arrogance, like his really like, I am better than you. And I don't mind that they shoved him in Hawkman and Hawkgirl's origin, because in the comic books, he's just a caveman.
He's a caveman who falls asleep next to a meteor.
Yeah, and he becomes immortal.
You know.
But I get it. You got to condense it. And you got to give him a reason to be there.
And,
I
yeah,
thought he
also-
was just so powerful.
Yeah, it also makes him a more persistent.
Yeah.
Instead of him just being like, I'm around, for some reason he needs to kill the Hawks
Yeah.
every so often.
But
206 times.
how
Yeah.
is he? How is he dead?
How-
Because he's not dead.
I don't know.
Oh, because now Merlin, you're gonna owe me a favor. That's
buddy.
a pretty big favor because
The-
he's
the Lassie
Ash.
pit.
Yeah, 'cause he's
The Lazarus pit that's frozen doesn't work anymore.
I don't know. I actually would have preferred if that last scene would have been like we saw him reform himself out of the dust, and we're like, okay, immortal.
It does
Yeah.
actually kind of bring it back to like, Malcolm, why the hell are you here? Like, I get it,
Yeah.
you're part of Arrow, and you
Yeah.
weren't in the last one, so like, we'll bring you back in. But
I do think that's going to be a big plot point of Legends of Tomorrow, because I think when Rip Hunter shows up and he's like, we got to go find this Vandal Savage guy, they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, he's dead. And then part of their plot line, I think, is going to be searching for that jar or searching for his
maybe
dust.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
that's fun.
Interesting.
Searching for the Savage Dust.
Interesting.
The Savage Dust.
When he first showed up, I like my Vandal Savage to have a little more gravity
Yeah.
to him. But as the shows went on, the two-parter went on, I liked the way his line readings. I liked the way he
Yes.
delivered it. It's cool to have a villain, and I think this plays into my theory on Lex Luthor too. I think it's better when you have a villain that enjoys being a villain, like
Yeah.
is having fun. I think that was one of the downsides of Spectre, the new James Bond movie, is Christoph Waltz doesn't appear to be having any fun in that movie.
Well, I think he's also sick and tired of playing villains.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Vandal Savage enjoys being Vandal Savage.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know?
And Casper Crump's having a great time.
Yeah, he has the presence. As soon as he walks into a room, I think his thoughts are, I'm better than everybody here. And that's a great subtext to have as a villain.
Yeah, especially Vandal. You're,
Yeah.
4,000 years old? Of course I'm better than you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but we
course.
have these reincarnated Hawks, and we have an immortal villain. But those aren't the craziest parts of the episode, because we also have time travel.
Yep.
And we also have the most soap opera plot element in Arrow, his the
baby.
son he
Perfect.
didn't know about, who's
Yep.
William, not
William.
Connor.
Yeah, no, I have
Yeah.
a tweet from Jamie Cook at JMC Do Re Mi. So they've been setting up Oliver's son for 2 seasons, only for it to not be Connor Hawk. Are you guys mad about that? As I am. As mad about it as I am.
What was the name?
His name is William. The original
No, the name of the person who
Oh, Jamie.
Jamie, I am as mad as you are. I am so livid, actually, about that. They could have even said his middle name is Connor, and I would have took it.
Yeah, I think they're setting up, because there was a casting announcement for Legends of Tomorrow that people were speculating was Connor Hawk,
Yeah.
but he was of mixed race. I think they're going to make Connor Hawk the Terry McGinnis
Oh, interesting.
of the Arrowverse, Arrow Beyond.
I would totally
Beyond.
watch the shit out of Arrow Beyond.
Honestly, that's once they get through the flashbacks, the 5 years of flashbacks. I think it might be cool if they establish
Lost.
flash forwards
Go
to Arrow
flash
Beyond.
forward.
Oh, nice.
Think about
Yeah,
this.
maybe.
You
I mean,
know
it'd
how-
be
Sold me,
interesting.
man.
You know how Terry flies in the
Yeah.
Batman Beyond? So he kind of takes on the characteristics of a bat.
Yeah.
So Connor Hawk in the future takes the characteristics of an arrow.
So he just
So-
walks
so
like
So
this.
he just he's like a missile and takes off.
I really hope that they do that, because otherwise, why change that?
The arrow thing.
Well, I kind of wonder, I kind of wonder if the reason they called him William. Did you guys ever watch Caprica? The not so good spinoff of Battlestar Galactica. Anyways, there was a kid in that show that you thought was Adama from the beginning. And spoilers for a show that came out like 5 years ago.
And nobody watched.
Yeah, nobody watched. And at the end, it wasn't. That kid died, and William Adama was actually born later. So I wonder if this is not Connor Hawke, because we're going to get a Connor Hawke later down the road.
Well, then let me ask you the question.
And this kid may die.
Right. Well, let me ask you the question. That's what I'd like to talk about. We know that someone in the Arrowcast or in the Arrowverse will die, and this episode presented yet another
That
option.
hurts.
A few more options, because we've been talking about it's probably Quentin Lance. That seems like a
Lance,
logical solution, because he's in deep with Damien Dark, and Damien will kill him. But we have a threat from Damien Dark, or not Damien Dark, from Malcolm Merlyn in this episode of, if you let my daughter die, I will come at you with everything that I have, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so they kill off Willa Holland, they kill off Speedy, and that would not only be a huge character death and a huge effect on Ollie, but would fuel a great season 5 fighting Damien Dark again. That's an option. William dies.
That will be interesting, because then you don't... Right now... The weakest element of the Arrow ensemble is an element you can't get rid of because it's Black Canary.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of works, kind of functions really well. So it's really, as we've been thinking about who to kill off, like, there's not really a good option. William is a good option, because Oliver would be pissed about that, and we wouldn't have to care.
I would. If
true.
they did that, I would be a little bummed I'd be bummed for a few days if they had to kill off a child.
A child?
I would be bummed because it doesn't affect
It's low
anything
stakes.
other than Oliver.
very low
True.
stakes.
But I mean, I get why Barry showed up then.
But also,
flash
it's the
forward.
same problem if they killed Felicity. We just set up this plot line of their falling out from this, which, by the way, I think that could have been handled more elegantly.
Way better.
Like, I need you to not tell anybody, even the person you love most in the world. Like, it could have been as easy as her saying, "Don't tell anybody." Oliver has a moment of weakness and goes back to his old ways of not telling secrets. And then once they fix the timeline, Barry's saying, "Hey, time travel shit, all that." Oliver would be like, "Oh, that's a great excuse to do the thing I told myself I'm not going to do anymore. That's a great excuse to be weak in this moment and not tell Felicity."
I hated it. I hated it so much. Frickin' you tell Felicity and then you don't tell baby mama. Like, that to me makes way more sense.
Yeah.
It just... why? If you know in the other timeline this is how this played out, why would you do it again, you big dummy? It's
Also,
just...
why would the mom be like, "Don't tell anybody"? Like, what? Like,
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Why she wouldn't want it public? Because then that ruins the kid's life.
Oh, okay.
And this is a huge stretch in me connecting dots that I shouldn't have to connect.
Sure.
If the concern that she doesn't know Felicity, maybe Felicity has a big mouth. Maybe because if any whisper gets out to the paparazzi, this kid's life.
Right,
Yeah,
of like
true.
a Playboy Oliver Queen's hidden
Running
baby.
for mayor.
But
yeah.
it's
Well,
a
now you still
stretch.
have that plot point, though. You
Yeah.
still have, like, that could probably happen this
Probably
season.
will happen. I actually, because I kind of wonder if the season's going to go towards Damien Dark running for mayor in public against him.
That'd be cool.
And using the baby as blackmail.
Can I tell you something? I was really bummed.
Or the kid. He's
I
not a
was,
baby anymore.
I was really hoping Arrow would let Brother Blood stay mayor, because the idea of having a villain mayor of
kinda
your
cool.
city is kind of cool, like a kind of cool antagonist for a street level vigilante.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be great if Batman had a villain mayor. Like, you know what I mean?
See, and that's why I think he's going to win.
That'd be
I
cool.
think 5th season is he's mayor.
I would really love it if this show kept Neil McDonough around for more than a season,
That'd be cool.
because he's really good.
He's a great antagonist.
Not to be negative, but I feel like he's...
Yeah, he's
I
gonna-
mean, probably.
Yeah.
I think definitely season 5, especially since we're probably going to be wrapping up the island shit. Like, season 5 should be a big year for this show. It seems like every other year is the Merlin years. Season 1 was Merlin. Season 2 was Merlin with Roz. Now Merlin's Ra's al Ghul again. I have a feeling season 5 is going to be leftovers of Hive plus Malcolm Merlin.
I kind of hope I'm going crazy on this one. I kind of hope season 5 is Joey, the Ravager, the son of Slade Wilson.
That'd be cool.
Because they're not going to bring Deathstroke back because he had all those issues at that comic book convention where he punched a bunch of people in the face and so
And he's also on another show now.
and he's on a show now, so I don't think they can bring him back. But like, I think it would be so cool to have that tie back to Deathstroke.
Yeah, because he
That would be
was the
cool.
best villain on
Yeah.
the show.
That's a solid... This season's been really solid, too.
Yeah.
But, that was the most solid season thus far. But what did you guys think of, like, the big the big fight. And what did you think of the time travel? And we haven't talked about the time travel.
You know what? When they killed the Hawks, I was like, okay, because they reincarnate, that makes sense. They can still be in Legends of Tomorrow. And then it clicked to me like, oh, time travel, because we already had the ghosting. And then the thing, but it was still, even though time travel, you're like, they kill. It was almost like that scene in Generations where the Enterprise blows up. And you're like, this gets fixed, but it's still weird to see these characters you love
die
brutally.
It was a great to see the Oliver Queen death scene.
Oh yeah, no, he didn't just die. He was vaporized.
Like Terminator 2.
Damn skeleton.
And it was great effects too, and Barry's crying and trying to outrun the blast. Oh god. But when we came back for the part 2 of the fight, we got a tweet here from Ennio Carella. He tweeted, "Best part: Laurel screams, does nothing. Hilarious.
Nothing.
Hashtag
nothing.
Hashtag same scream, different frequency."
I also thought it was really cool because we had that first half of the episode was really interesting and well constructed and thoughtful, and it was cool to see and surprisingly subtle for this show, for these shows. And then that's only half the episode, and now you get another perspective with Oliver kind of dealing with like, hey, you know what? Hawkman tried with Hawkgirl, Cisco, and it resolved it resolved a lot of things in a pretty interesting way. It did not, unfortunately, make the William plotline better, which I was kind of hoping, like maybe at least flesh out why she's so adamant to Felicity not know. But whatever.
Because she doesn't want him in her life either.
Yeah.
She understands and respects his right to have a relationship with his kid, but she has been raising this kid well. He's well adjusted. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Also, what did she do? She didn't cash that check. She's living pretty well. I don't know.
She's got a great
I don't know what
house.
house costs are in Central City. But she's doing all right.
And also think about that Central City is now making action figures of Leonard Snart.
Yeah, right.
And they're good.
And they look great.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the DC collectibles.
Yeah, they're the actual
DC collectible action figures, but you're just like, wait a minute.
How funny if in that world, instead of like making the action figures accurate, they're supposed to be stylized, so they look like the comic booky action
they're like
figures.
these?
Instead of like legitimately what they look like in the show.
That would be so funny just to like see Leonard Snart throwing Captain Cold action figures into the air and shooting them, freezing them, and they shattering.
Yeah.
And just like, I hate Fane. Something like that. Anyway.
I have a really big question because we learned about the Hawks. We learned why they reincarnate because they prayed, I think. That's why they explained why they reincarnate.
Yeah.
Where did the wings come from?
Magic.
Okay, we're just
I
going
do
to throw
think-
that blanket. Just magic.
I do
Okay.
think they're gonna be-
Like, why didn't Vandal Savage get it if he got hit by the meteor too?
Listen, she asked Horus for wings of protection.
Yeah, you're right. Horus had wings.
I
guess.
have a feeling that they're going to do similar to what they did with the Justice League cartoon, that the Thanagarians, like the meteorites might come from Thanagar. Like there's going to be some Thanagarian influence. But again, any streamlining you can do to the Hawks origin is a good thing.
Yes.
There's no more complicated backstory
Oh man.
ever in any comic book characters ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
But overall, what would you guys rate it?
Rate
The two-part, the whole thing.
the whole thing?
shebang.
The whole shebang was ultimately very entertaining. They did a lot with a lot of plot. I honestly, I would. If it was just part 2, it would be higher, but together it would be an 8 for me. Like, there's a lot of entertaining stuff here. Wasn't perfect. First hour, very bloated. I did not like what they did with the Felicity plotline. But other than that, it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, I would give it like an 8, 8.5 kind of, because you're right, but it was my favorite Flash episode of the season for both shows.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Solid 8. Yeah.
Same here, solid 8. I thought, again, there were some clunky moments specifically in the first episode. It was a lot of fun. The characters were a lot of fun. It was cool seeing everybody interact with each other. I think the when they're put in these positions, they really bring out the best of both teams. And honestly, I would not be angry if they scuttled these shows and just made a Justice League show and just had...
We were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Wow.
because they work really well together. And I'm really excited for Legends of Tomorrow. If they do these team dynamics this well...
Well, what about the crazy thing that's been going out that everybody's been saying that what if Legends of Tomorrow is like Just League Unlimited and every season we get a new team?
Yeah, there's a rumor that
Really?
the next season will have Constantine.
Yeah, like season 2 is Constantine.
Yeah.
I'm
Which
totally down with that.
The salt on that rumor is that Legends of Tomorrow is apparently very expensive, so this season
Yes.
will have to do very well for a
Like,
second season.
really, I think it will, though. They've built it up a
Probably.
lot.
And
Yeah.
again, if it's as fun as these two-parters,
Fine.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would love, it'd be cool like if Legends of Tomorrow season 2 is magic. Then you
Yeah.
have Constantine and Zatanna, basically a Justice League Dark TV show.
Yeah.
So,
I'm on
gang,
board.
go find your Nielsen home friends, go there, all you log into that Nielsen box somehow and make it happen. Everyone
Download
watch
it
Legends
70
of Tomorrow.
times off iTunes.
There you go.
There you go.
You can do it.
All right, DJ,
I'm going to do my pull list
list.
real quick because we're running a little long in the tooth. Next week, the comics that are coming out. The big Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover is happening.
Oh, boy, everyone's favorite.
If you grew up sometime in the 80s and 90s, of course you're buying this. Also, they're continuing the Justice League Darkseid War over at DC with the one-offs, and Lex Luthor's getting his own one-off. He's the new Darkseid. So if
What?
you're interested in following
How can you
that,
be the new Darkseid?
Bro,
well,
it's crazy.
no spoilers.
I love it.
By the way,
It's a lot of
I would
paperwork,
really love at some
lawyers.
point with these CW shows if we get Anti-Monitor. We've already got Earth 2.
Yeah.
I really would. Anyway, whatever.
How cool would the series finale of Flash is actually Christ on Infinite Earth? Just put
It'd be amazing. Anyway,
So expensive.
Over in the indie world, we've got Monstrous #2. Monstrous is like a Western manga that deals with kaiju and spiritual. It's really good. It's written by Marjorie Liu. I highly recommend checking it out. Twilight Children, which is drawn by Darwin Cook.
that
If
book,
you're not
by the way, the first 2 issues are great.
are
It's
great.
very good.
Darwin
It's
Cook
really
is
good.
the
Yeah,
best. Is the best. And over Marvel, you've got Scarlet Witch #1. She's getting her own series, so I recommend checking that out. And Secret Wars #8 is coming out. And
That's not the final issue.
No. See, the final issue is Secret Wars 9, which is coming out in January.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but it's
also
a really fun crossover.
I picked up Silk over at Marvel, like
Yeah.
the solo
Yeah, I
series
heard
they
it's
just
really
redid.
fun.
Oh, it's so cool, and
good.
the art is. I wish I knew it off the top of my head, but it's
Yep.
real
Silk's
good.
really good.
Yeah.
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 And gang, we're not ignoring the Avengers dig in the second half of the crossover. It was just such a small moment that it didn't
Yeah.
really bear repeating.
And kind of lame, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
it was kind of lame.
It was lame for Sam. For me, it gave me a chuckle.
You know, and it could also be partly a dig at Smallville, which was made by the same network.
Right.
It was about a
That's true.
superhero and a farm.
Yeah.
That's true.
There we go.
It's true. A lot of action in more ways than one happened in that Smallville barn.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, boy.
So many superhero fights in one bar.
In one
And
bar.
not
And
just
it's
fights.
still
And
standing.
not just fights, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's about
All
right.
right. Okay. Gang, thank you so much for watching. Jason, thank you so much for coming. It's been a real blast
Thank you,
having you.
man.
Have a good
Thank you
time.
guys. This was a lot of fun.
Good. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Jawin, Jawin. I also do a podcast called Geek History Lesson on iTunes and Stitcher. And this week is actually Hawkman, so I'll be doing
cool.
some of that convoluted history. But really important I'm doing a Jawin comic drive for soldiers right now, where I'm asking everybody out there to donate comic books for all the soldiers overseas, and we're trying to raise a goal of 10,000 by January 1st. As of today, we are at 4,518, so 4,518. So
great.
if you got any free comics, follow me on Twitter. All the information's there.
Right on.
You know, everybody's got comics they can give to
Yeah, I
troops.
definitely have some comics. I can
Yeah,
talk
gang.
about.
So it's a good cause. Follow him on Twitter. That's JAWIIN. That's 2 I's.
That's right.
And let's help out some wonderful soldiers and give them great comics to read. Sam, where can the people find you?
Find me on Twitter at Sam Basher, BASHOR. You can also find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Dublin, like the city, INC Inc. TV. I got a tiny place.
Yeah. It's a weird way to put it.
Yeah.
DJ?
You can find me anywhere that matters at DJ Talks Trash, spelled like it sounds.
Wonderful. And you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MATTLIEBERMAN. Check out my advice podcast, Ask Liebs, Mondays and Thursdays. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. We'll miss you.
Watch DC All Access.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.